we're happy to have you back here for another episode of Connect to the Bridge. T. Limbs. We're here with Mr. Jermaine Wright, and we will have Twala and Sean joining us shortly. But before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Just Danielle. That CD that you just heard is called Just Danielle. She is what I call a beast. I love music, but it takes a special musician to really coax me into listening to a CD every single day. Please pick up your copy of Just Danielle. She's on iTunes. And Danielle is Miriam Bryce's daughter, the poet that we had here, who spoke to us a couple weeks ago. About a month ago, yeah. But she is just excellent at what she does. So what I'd like you to do is pick up a copy of that CD. I am certain you will not be disappointed. So, Jermaine.
What's going on?
Nothing. You know what? I wanted you to talk a little bit about a show we have coming up that focuses on youth.
Yes.
You want to start out that conversation?
So next Sunday, make sure you guys tune in. We're going to dig into the Nipsey Hussle murder, but an open discussion.
Yes.
There are many different feelings and views and branches that kind of stem off from this topic. So we're gonna kind of dive into it next week. We're gonna have a few people here. I'm pretty sure the studio will be full. So an open discussion next week. Nipsey Hussle. Tune in.
Yes, and I just want to say that I didn't know anything about Nipsey. However, having read up on him, hearing a little bit of the details about what he was trying to do in our community, it paralyzed me and thought, I think is the way to talk about it, is that, we're really at a turning point, especially African Americans, and I know others tune in our show. But we are at a kind of like do or die situation. And I think for most African Americans, we're just tired of taking stuff, especially when it comes to our leaders. And there has to be a shift or a change. And I believe that you guys, as Twala and Sean and I both agree, are the ones to take us into the next generation of the things that we haven't righted in the past will get righted as we move in the future.
Well, at this point, I believe it comes down to individual change of mindset. Like you said, our leaders, we are our leaders individually. Yes. We have to take ownership and accountability over our choices. And yes. I think more than anything else with Nipsey, that's, if you dig a little deeper into who he was, not necessarily what he did, you understand that it was more about who he was as a person.
Yes.
He invested more in other people than he expected them to invest in him.
Wow.
That's an individual thing. That's something that you learn early on in treating people how you want to be treated. So that comes down to each of us taking responsibility for what we do, how we think, how we operate, how we treat one another, not just what we spend and where we spend it.
Yes.
But again, we're going to go into that next week.
Yes.
We're never go too deep with that.
So related to that, while we wait for Twala and Sean, and we have a special guest for you today, and she's an ambassador from Nigeria. So she'll be in here to talk a little bit about education and those types of things, and she's also a phenomenally trained artist. So we eagerly await her. But I figured, since I have a few seconds, and you and I are very passionate about purpose, I wanted to talk a little bit about purpose. Okay. And what I find is that usually people go through a lot in their lifetimes, but when you're on purpose, I find that a lot of the stress, a lot of the desire to we've got people that are taking drugs, that are stressed out, can't get along with families, are truly depressed and unhappy. And a lot of that comes from not being on purpose. Now, I believe that purpose is a God-given gift. I'm a firm believer in my Christian belief system, and I believe that an extension of why God has us here to begin with all lies in our purpose. You want to add to that?
I didn't want to cut you off.
That's okay.
Purpose. I mean, I believe we're all created at the end of the day for purpose.
Yes.
But in order to find purpose or achieve purpose, you have to first know God.
Yes.
So you can't find purpose without first submitting to God, because purpose comes with faith.
Yes.
So how can one know what faith is without first knowing who God is?
Yes.
So in that sense, purpose, I always like to say purpose over price. You can't put a price tag on value. So I'm never going to lower my value in terms of morals to a standard as far as what I'm trying to make in terms of financial or monetary.
Right.
Wealth, I should say.
Right. And purpose is something that I believe all of us are birthed with. For those of you who don't know your purpose, Jermaine and I have agreed to do more sessions on purpose as we move forward, because I think in our communities, allowing us, and when we're on purpose, that's going to make a difference. At Imagination Press, it's a publishing company, we do a lot of work on achieving your purpose and how to go about making that happen. And sometimes it's writing a book, sometimes it's a patent idea, sometimes it's just working a 9 to 5 and being helpful in those areas.
And I have to cut you off quickly. Sometimes it's just a simple thing. Hold on, I gotta make sure I know which side it's on here. Oh.
Yeah, got it.
Shout out to autism. It is, where is it? Yes.
Good.
Speaking of purposes and great purpose, I believe it's considered, it's Go Blue. April is Autism Go Blue Month. So that's where the blue jacket, the thing. So purpose is a great segue into that point.
Right. And so
make sure you support and make yourself knowledgeable of what's going on in the autism community.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, for African American males, they are 340% more likely to suffer from autism. So I think that's a huge statistic, and if you're not involved, you need to get involved. And we had an event yesterday that where we went out to support autism. So the goal is to stay involved, and especially in acts that involve your community. All right, so we're going to go to break, and within the next minute, we'll be back with our ambassador from Nigeria. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today.
Well, welcome back. And you see we have Twala to the right.
Hello.
And we're just so happy to see you, Twala, because you've been hustling. You have been a hustling sister on our behalf. And so we just want to say thank you.
Okay, you know it's me. Where my mirror at? On their behalf. Everybody else, not on our behalf, but on their behalf.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you and what you've done and all. And Sean, of course, is always in the house.
I'm still here.
And I didn't realize until I ran some of the tapes back how much I laughed. But I told Twala and the gang it's because of Sean. Yes. If he would stop telling so many jokes, I wouldn't laugh so much.
I taught guitars 365.
Yes.
Oh, when he went off on Akron, that was awesome.
That was funny.
That was awesome.
But you heard the passion, and that's what counts.
Exactly. That's just the importance of it. Yeah, I'm cracking jokes, but there is a seriousness as to what we're doing and what we're trying to do and what we need to do as a whole.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to let everybody know that, you know, okay, we like to have fun, and we have that chemistry and we have that harmony, and we want to show you guys how we can get along.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even if we have our differences. You know, I don't like Jermaine because his hair is longer than mine. No, I'm just playing. You know I was going to say something, right? So, that's all I can come up with, man.
Be serious for so long.
Okay. You know what I mean? But, yeah, no, we want you guys to know out there that, you know, something, we do appreciate you, and we out there for you, and it's for you. And we want you to get involved in this thing because, you know, something, we need everybody in the village to play their part.
Yes.
No matter how large or small, just be a part of it. And I say this constantly, and I'm going to say it again, put your brick in this foundation.
Yes.
Because you are a part of this.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You know, so.
Saying that, that just segues to what I'm getting ready to get to. Connect to the Bridge. We want you to go to Instagram, Connect to the Bridge. And I tell you what, there's some phenomenal film and some phenomenal photographs that are there. Thank you, Jermaine.
Yes, very nice.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. And we can go to Twitter, to T-Lims on Twitter, T-LIMS on Twitter. Connect to the Bridge was an organization that started between T-Lims and Imagination Press and 5 Orange Clothing. And abstract excellence. And so our whole concept, when we sat down, we were talking together about what we want to do. We were talking about trying to connect this bridge from United States over to our homeland in Africa.
Yes.
The only way that we're going to come together as a people is if we actually make this connection, and it's up to us to make this connection. And we have been so far very blessed to be able to come in contact with many of our distant cousins and relatives, and they being so warm to us and inviting. Hello, Francis. Hello, Francis.
Hey, Francis.
We know Francis, who represents Accra, Ghana. But at
Twilight, time
yes.
out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes, you did.
Well, okay, but you got to throw that in there to be polite. But again, what we want to do, we have to educate each other.
Right.
Our sisters and brothers in the motherland, as well as educating them about us and us about them, or you know what I mean. And everybody else has been feeding each other, our groups, propaganda.
Yes.
Right.
So we need to get to the real truth of who we are, and so we can get back to
Right.
our identity.
Right.
You know what I mean? So again, which the bridge does, the bridge produces that connection where they can learn about their brothers abroad as we can learn about our brothers abroad. And then we can come together as a whole.
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to say something else too. Last week I said something about the FBI, and that was
Freed Blacks Incorporated.
Freed Blacks Incorporated. I got another one for us.
Oh, yeah.
God bless the USA. And the USA is United States of Africa.
Oh.
How about that one? Okay, so anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, went to the Governor's Summit, told you all, to the Joint Ethnic Commission a few weeks ago, and had an opportunity to meet this dynamic woman to the left of Jermaine. Her name is Ambassador Ifeoma Ejiogu. Ejiogu, and she's from Abuja, Nigeria, representing the Fijio Group Africa, and she also is a prolific, world-renowned artist.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I'm going to let her tell us about what it is that we're going to be doing together, and let us know how we all can help in this endeavor. We know that Microsoft, we know that the Ford Foundation, we know that let's see, who's the other group? We said Zuckerberg, Chin Zuckerberg, corporations, groups. They have headquarters in all of these different sites. They have a headquarters. They have a headquarters in Abuja. They have one is in Lagos, and the other one is in Accra. They said that they want to help these areas, these organizations, these groups, and that's what we're doing right now. We're making a plea for you to put your money where your mouth is. Mr. Bill Gates, we love your initiatives. We want to plug into that. We want to plug into Mr. Zuckerberg from Facebook, plug in. Ford Foundation, plug in. Annenberg Foundation, plug in. Ambassador?
Yeah, it's a really pleasure being in your midst. And I'd like to start by introducing myself. From childhood, I've been an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered my talents even when I was in secondary school. I discovered my talent even when I don't have anybody to help me harness the God-gifted talent I have.
Mm-hmm.
I've painted over 700 artworks.
Wow.
Wow.
Most of these artworks are self-commissioned artworks.
Wow.
Some of them, I made them by inspirations. And when I started this, I wasn't having anybody around to encourage it.
Mm-hmm.
But out of self-help, I continue struggling. Because I told myself that this talent will not waste.
Right.
Whether anybody is there to help me or not, that I am going to push until I get to the top. So I continued exhibiting, expressing my art talent in different ways. I do woodwork. I can construct with wood. Some of this, I didn't go for any training. So I continued doing this from age to to secondary school. Then I didn't have anybody to help me, but I continued. I used anything around me to express the talent in me. I started making different things. Then I got married. Then my husband encouraged me and went to study the same subject, arts. And then I continued doing this work until I gathered enough artworks. One interesting thing is that I came up with a theme that I started working on, trying to identify, trying to use my art to chart historic trend of things. I started, charting the history. My interest is on democracy. It appears I like democratic system of government, so I started charting historic trend of things on democracy. Started doing my arts. Then I gathered enough works to have a gallery. And that gallery, I tagged it Resource Center. That's where I started, sharing and painting portraits of people that have ruled, leaders in Nigeria, Africa. Then in the United States here, I painted portrait of the 44 past president of the United States of America. I have that piece with me, awaiting presentation and all that. Then I continue. So along the line, I discovered that what I passed through was to realize that I was talented, that God has given me a unique gift. But one thing that happened is that nobody was there to give me the light to develop myself and be what God wanted me to be, to the height I'm supposed to be. So a lot of times were wasted when I was trying to struggle out to make something out of this. I came out from a polygamous family. My mother had 12 children. And in Africa, that is the common thing. So they can just pick one or two people first children to train. So the people behind can just help themselves. So this is the family I found myself. So nobody gave attention, but I didn't allow it to affect me. I continued. Now, I have come up to be known by so many people. At the time, 2011, the diplomats in Nigeria, foreign ambassadors in Nigeria, discovered what I was doing. The wife of the Vietnam ambassador organized other ambassadors and said, there is something happening somewhere. And he brought them to my studio. So the lady now, I told her, I'm interested in painting the founder of Vietnam. He said, go ahead and do that. So she gave me the picture. I look at the picture. I painted the portrait of the Ho Chi Minh, which is the founder of Vietnam. She took me to Vietnam. If you go to International Museum Vietnam, my work is the first African artwork that is mounted there.
What a blessing. What a blessing.
Yeah. So I continued that way. And but there's something that inspired a program I want to do in Nigeria in June. And that program is Celebrating Best Brain. I started planning this. Then I have an office in Abuja. So I began to plan and design. And I told my staff, go to all the schools within the area that I am and inform them about competition and prize giving. We want to, I know I have a lot of people like me out there.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
there are so many people that have this talent, they die with the talent because nobody was there to help them.
Yeah.
I took a step and went to the rural areas in Nigeria. I went from school to school for talent hunts. I went to one of the schools. The principal gave me the chance to meet with the students. So when I went, I gave them assignments. The person that came first was a very young boy. In fact, he was not wearing sandals because of poverty. But she excelled. She did a very marvelous work, and I look at her. She's from a very poor family to the point she doesn't have sandals to wear. That gave me more ideas of what is happening in the world today.
Yes, yes.
Where you see this talent most times is not at the homes of all these ministers, governors, and all that. Go to the grassroots.
Yes.
There are so many people highly endowed.
Yes.
They can do something if you give them a chance.
Outlet.
That is the reason why I started this promotion of creativity. I call it promoting creativity in Nigeria, so that we can now discover such people and give them chance to express themselves and fulfill their destiny.
Yes.
So this is what's brought about creativity development program we are doing. In June this year in Nigeria, we are doing competition and prize giving. So we have written to over 200 schools to give us students that will come in different field of endeavor and creativity to show what they have. From there, we can pick best brain and assist them. So right now, we are looking at 20,000 students.
That's a lot of students.
Yes.
That's a
We have
lot.
gotten a venue that will accommodate 20,000 students.
Wow.
The 20,000 students is not every one of them that is going to participate, but others will witness what is going to happen to the selected few people. Could be maybe like 2,000-3,000 people from these schools that will come. We have them in arts, in crafts, in computer science technology, and tourism, in writing. I remember my little girl at the age of 8, she's a writer. So it might not be on art, it might not be on craft, it could be on writing, but it could be in any other area. But what we are looking at is extraordinary intelligence in any child. And my interest is I don't want what I experience to go ahead, to go on.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We have with the bridge and TLIMS, and this is what we want to do. We want to give people a platform to express themselves.
Good.
Because, as you said, there is so much hidden talent that will never get the opportunity, and your struggles and the things that you have to experience and find out for yourself, we can make it easier for that next person. And like I said, this is why we say, so put your brick in this foundation. We have so many talented people in the world that sometimes, because of lack of opportunity, don't use that talent for the right thing. And end up, getting incarcerated or maybe even killed. But if they had an opportunity or a platform where they can, express themselves, like you were self-determined that, something, I'm going to get out there. And you followed your God-given talent. With an S,
See,
not just one.
But see, also what she was saying, and I'm gonna let switch over to Teresa and Jermaine, because I heard a comment. The way that the schools are set up there, unlike our system, every child gets to go to school, has an opportunity to go to a free school. It's not like that in the other parts of the world. They pick out of a group of children a child that shows a talent, but that doesn't mean the other ones aren't talented, and that means that those minds don't get cultivated.
Nurtured.
Right. And that's the sad part about it, and that's why as a retired teacher, it's a sorrow to me when students come to school. Like when the students would club in class, I would tell them, you tell your classmates that means you're a thief, because they're robbing you of your education. So the children, what they do is if somebody starts clowning in class, they go, you're a thief, you're a thief, you're a thief, you're a thief. They call it out. They walk up and write on the chalkboard or the whiteboard I had and say, she's a thief, she's a thief, 5 cents, thief, 5 cents. But because my whole point was to instill in them the opportunity that they have that a lot of people didn't have. And I'll say this and I'll switch over. I remember being in Sierra Leone, and they were in the middle of a civil war. And children were trying to get to school. They were getting shot down. People were getting just rounded up like cattle. And this one particular place, we were in this church, and the church was a safe haven. But I remember hearing the children outside the church building dying outside the building. We weren't allowed to go outside to get them. We only could help them once they got on the soil to the step. We were able to open the hatches and let them in. But you could hear children outside. I'll never forget. They were reciting alphabets, and they were reciting math facts, and they were dying. And just to know that these children, all they wanted was an opportunity and chance, but it was a war-torn time. And I can remember coming back stateside saying, these children don't even know how cool they got. They got air conditioning in some of the school buildings. Teresa?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, tell me about how things are organized around education in your country. And what the needs are specifically. If you had to dream up what the schools would be and all that, for you to share that with us.
Is it in terms of I want to get you very well so as to give you is it the way in terms of government system or something? Well, in Nigeria, school is still, in some areas, is still based on the financial capabilities of the parent. Yes, I know about free education that the government pronounced or promised. But it's not just like it is done in the Western world. Okay, now, there was a case of a young girl that was expelled or hindered from taking an examination in public school where they said they don't pay school fees. But this child was expelled. Expelled from the class. The child is in the internet. The child went home crying. and say they would have flogged me instead of them to chase me away from the class. And the child takes first position in the school. They would have flogged me. I would have loved them to flog me. They would have flogged me until they are tired of flogging me so that I will still remain. Oh my God, I think the world has taken that matter up. This happened, I think, last 2 weeks.
The 5-year-old girl.
But this is still a public school where we all know or hear that is a free education school. We're not asking the girl. But this school, government said that. He said, yeah, but there are fees, levies. Which even the parent, imagine the situation, even the levy, the parent cannot even afford that.
Wow.
And this child takes first position in the class,
Wow.
was expelled.
Wow.
So she continued crying. You know, there are some children that are very resilient, right? Just like
Right,
myself that
yes.
said nothing can kill my talent.
Yes.
That child was going crying. That attracted the young girl. I said, what is the problem? He said, look at them. They chased me away from the class because I have not paid. But my mother even said he will pay. But now they chased, I would have even, I prefer they flog me and flog. Can you imagine that? So they videoed the child and put something in the internet. The world is celebrating that girl now.
Wow. Wow.
But I'm just using that as an example. Yes, the school is a public school. It's still a school government is saying is free. But there are some levies that are still there that the child, the parent cannot afford. The father is just, they are just traders. And you can imagine the situation. So this is how it is. Now, that is about the government schools. Parents that have money take their children to private schools where, well, we can say children enjoy quality education, maybe. In the public school, that's not like that. So everything is still like, if you have money.
So it's still stratification. social
Classification, yeah.
Okay.
It's still like that.
Okay. And then my other question for you is with I know growing up in the American school system, and I feel fortunate to be able to have a free education. And I always would think back for my forefathers and what they fought for just for me to attend class. So I was never a thief when it came to education because it's such a price to pay.
Right.
But my concern has been, and as I grew up, I'm a publisher and we write books, but now my biggest concern is that some of the things that we thought were true in our educational system is not. So I'm curious in terms of what you're learning when these kids that are able to afford school, what types of things? Is it more a Western education, or is it a combination, or what are the things that they're learning when it comes to history and those kinds of things? I'm just curious.
In government schools, right? The public schools. Yeah, there are curriculums that has the basic study like English, mathematics, science, all those ones. But it's not just the same with private schools.
Okay.
For instance now, if you go to public schools, can you imagine a child in secondary school, even in university, well, he cannot even operate computer. But now that's an advantage private schools. I'm just citing that as an example. And there are other things
That are different.
like that.
Okay.
But that, for instance, this is the world of, this is digital age.
Yes, yes, yes.
And primary school cut that off. You can't get that in public school. Secondary school cut that off, even if they say they're teaching computer. How many schools, how many government schools have computers that the children are practicing
that's a
with?
good point.
Nothing like that. Then go to university. Now, 2 weeks before I came, 3 weeks before I came to the United States, I visited a school, a tertiary institution in Nigeria, to donate some sewing machines This is a department we call vocational training.
Yeah. We have
But
those
what
here.
they learn is theory. They don't have anything practical. So when this information came to me, I bought some sewing machines and donated to that school. This is just out of my passion. My passion to promote creativity and education. My husband happens to be a lecturer in that school. This is a government something. My husband happened to be a lecturer. He brought that information to me, that he is the head of department, and there's a particular department, that they are doing vocational studies, but they don't have practical. They don't have machines to show the practical aspect of it. People are taking it. That's why in Nigeria or some African countries, when you come out of university, if you don't get white-collar job, you just end up
hanging out.
your years. Because why? You cannot stand on your own, even on the course you study in the university. Somebody that studied vocational studies, is it not enough? If you come and if government did not give you a job, you can establish yourself, something for yourself. You did computer science, you don't even have computer, you don't even have laptop. You can't even do any practical aspect. Then you graduate and come out of the school and you're looking for a job. That's examples of what I'm talking about. So schools in Nigeria or in some African countries require to be equipped. Now, the public school is a school that you have a high number of people, because the private school is only a few people that can afford to go. But where you get the majority people is in the public school, but it's not well equipped. So I don't know. People just get their certificate and come out. They cannot compete with anything in the world.
Sounds familiar.
Jermaine?
Yeah.
Different. Okay. I had a more personal question.
Okay, fine.
You have a captivating spirit, right? So did the light click on that kind of drove this passion for you to say, you know what, I'm going to not only go get it, but I'm going to share it with the world? Like, was it a time that, you know, when this kind of changed for you to say, I'm just, no matter what happens, I'm going to make a difference, not only in my life, but in the life of others? Do you know when that happened for you, I should say?
When it happened to me?
When it happened for you. Yeah.
Okay, when I discovered, okay. Well, you know, psychology is very, very sensitive. Even when I developed this passion, is even when I was going through pains of not having anybody encouraging me. I want to do this, but nobody. To the point you now started helping yourself. That was when I started building the passion that, no, I told myself I must fulfill my dream in life, whether anybody helps me or not. Then
That's
when
powerful.
it started from the time I passed through some of this stress, I was talking to myself that I'm going to be a light. And I'm going to help others with, even as I'm talking to you now, every help I'm doing is my personal. I've never gotten sponsors.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Artwork sells very, very highly because I don't do any menial work.
Excuse me,
You can see the
Ambassador.
kind of...
For as far as her artwork, she has a piece with the presidents, and this was in honor of us electing the first black
Obama.
president. And so he's at the forefront of it. And what we're seeking is for President Barack Hussein Obama II to sign
To see it.
to
and
see it,
sign
to sign it. And then we want Oprah Winfrey to hold a silent auction and auction it off. And all the proceeds are going to go back to the schools that she's trying to set up and have for the supplies for the children that they need in Abuja, Nigeria, Nairobi, Kenya, and Accra, Ghana.
Benin Republic, Togo.
And Benin Republic and Togo.
And
So
South Africa.
all of this. So you can imagine when you see this piece, you're going to say, my gosh. And this is going to be donated. Or she's donating all the proceeds. That in and of itself
It's a blessing.
is phenomenal. So,
Wow.
as
Well,
you were saying.
that in itself too. is an avenue. Okay, modern technology has changed, and so what do we do with those old things? We can get those old sewing machines or whatnot and buy them up, or those old books and buy them up
And ask people to
and
donate.
send them.
Well, we have. I remember we had home ec in school, but they
Yeah.
don't even offer anymore. But every couple of years, the sewing machines, they got rid of them. They got rid of sewing machines. They just threw them out. They would throw them out, and so any of you have white sewing machines, white Western or white, was it Singer sewing
Singer,
machine?
yeah.
You know, Western, yeah. Contact us. Contact us. We can give threaders and bobbins
Or
and all that good
laptops
stuff.
or
Laptops.
computers. We are just trying to
Contact
promote
us.
ICT.
Absolutely.
Because that's
Contact us.
another aspect. Do you know what? I called a number of students to my office. I said, what did you study? He said, computer science. What of you? Computer science. What of you? Computer science. I said, okay, can you do some work for me? He said, I cannot do it. I was very, very baffled. You can't even type? He said, I don't have laptop. We don't have computer. Oh my God. You can't design? You can't do anything? I said, "Oh,
So they just have theory,
theory.
and that's it. Yeah.
So now, among what we are trying to promote is ICT, information computer technology. Because now, it is one of the problems we are also having. We're still like analog. You get us it? So
Yeah.
people are going digital now.
Yes.
right.
But
That's right.
we are backwards.
Yeah.
right.
So if you really want to help Africa, if you want to help these poor people,
Yes.
set up institutions.
Yes.
Practical, leave theory now. We are talking about where things we're doing are being seen, results are seen.
Yes.
Practical aspects.
Yes.
We're not talking theory now.
Yes.
That's why there are lack of jobs. Now, I was sharing with my friend when she came to me. I said, in my thinking, one of the reasons why we are having youth restiveness,
Yeah.
Boko Haram.
restlessness. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
let me be frank with you, if I am not determined, but you can see that I have a little thing upstairs. I've never teach negatively. The Boko Haram, they're very brilliant, intelligent people. Because if
Yes.
anybody come to this office now and maneuver everybody and get away free, he's intelligent.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Very brilliant.
Yes.
That person, he can come here, shake your hands. Before you know it, everything you have here is gone.
Uh-huh.
A dull person cannot do that.
That's right.
They'll
That's
catch
right.
you up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't have anything or is not creative
That's right.
cannot just come here and steal this and you will not know.
That's right.
Why? These people were neglected. No attention is given to them. Everybody's suffering from that. So brilliant children from, remember in the United States here, I get some knowledge. Children from infancy are given light to develop what they have. And there are guidance and counseling that will counselors that will come and check these children and know where their talents are. But it's a situation where such thing is not done. What happened to those children? You may, before a child discovers her values,
That's
it's
right.
late. But ignorantly, absent-mindedly, the child will be developing the high talent he has negatively.
Yeah.
Stealing. You steal and nobody catch you. Tomorrow you go again. You develop and become Boko Haram.
The mind works. Hold on. This is hold on. Look, this is
But
crazy, though.
if from the infancy, from education side, one, there are two things about this now. One, I don't have, let me just use myself as an example. I don't have opportunity to go to school. That's one thing.
Right.
Another one is I have, but not in the right school, maybe in a place where I'm not giving attention.
Right.
I went to schools to witness what happened in the development of these children. Some classroom are about 100, some are 200. People, just this is a seat, 3 people are sitting on this seat. Is that school?
No.
So
No.
you put you on here, the other person you just carry that paper. School dismissed. Oh yeah, everybody goes until 6 years.
Sick.
Do you see that?
Yes.
So there are many aspects of this education we're talking about now. If you go to public school, if you check on my books and all that, you see where I was going inside the villages. I took my time to make research. I went right inside. You see, I have the whole evidence of all my toys. I toy schools. I went to the what do you call it? What do you call it? Well, the rural areas.
Okay, the rural.
Okay, got
Oh,
you.
And that is where you will see, because that's where, in the city, only few people are there in the city. Just if you want to count, you go to the rural areas. That's where, and that's where all the evil are emanating from.
You see. I wish we had so much more time. I do. I want you to go to the website, Physio Group,
Africa. Physio Group Africa.
Africa.com, right?
Dot
Is it
org.
dot org.
Yeah,
Dot
Physio
org.
Group Africa.
And that's FYJIOGIO
Physio Group.
Group. .org, and you can see the entire layout of the land. Like I said, I wish we had so much more time. When she comes back to America, we're going to have her back in the studio again.
That's right.
And we hope to have a wonderful report where the donations have been coming in from Microsoft and these other giants. We're going to find out what happened in the talent search in June.
Yes.
Walk the walk. Jermaine, you got it.
Okay. It's funny because anyway. You are awesome.
Thank you.
See, like I said, you have a captivating spirit. But everything you spoke of, ironically, connects.
Exactly.
Check this out.
Thank you.
So she spoke of brilliant minds operating negatively, so to speak. The thief, the robber, however you want to look at it. We talk about abstract excellence from our angle. My train of thought with that, as I've told you, was exactly that. The mind operates, everybody's gifted and talented in their own way. We spoke at the beginning of this show, it all comes back together about purpose. When you understand how those things connect in terms of your mind operating, everybody's mind operating differently, but we all having a purpose in God, you have to understand that not everybody's going to get it the same way, but we all need the same amount of attention in some form or fashion.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
So what does that mean?
That's good.
That means we got 30 seconds.
One more.
Wrong
And
30.
then next week, we're going to pick this up because it's perfect. It actually segues perfectly. Next week, Nipsey, community, open discussion. We'll get back to it.
Yeah, I wanted to say, and I'm piggybacking off of Jermaine. Next week we have a special edition for the bridge, and Jermaine is going to be leading that discussion, and so we have it's going to be an exciting show, and all our shows are a continuation. So tune in next week and every week.
The marathon continues.
The marathon continues.
Hustle week. Next
So
Sunday.
that means you need to figure out what you need to do to connect to the bridge and how to conduct your spot in the marathon. Until next week, we'd like to thank Ambassador Ifeoma
Thank you.
for visiting
Thank
us.
you.
Just love her.
Yeah.
Till next week, Ron, take us home.